you remember this video from a year ago that I made to talk about why did Monty kill Glamrock Bonnie and why it's important? Guess what?
So, you've got 4 different cleaning robots and Glamrock Bonnie. Yes, he's here. He's in the game, and he is not looking too good. He looks very beat up. Look.
So, it is very obvious from Bonnie's corpse, and I'm saying corpse because these robots are basically people, that he was killed probably with a bowling ball. And he is very, very dead. And it's clearly Monty who did this for multiple reasons. And it disturbs me how much, even after we get confirmation, people do not want to believe this is the case. Let me go through the reasons why it is undeniable that this was Monty. Let's go over evidence piece number 1 by going over what I mentioned towards the end of my previous video about what Monty's personality is like and what he does to other robots that frustrate him. Came to point out the stuff that I need to point out. So real fast, I'm going to skim for the video. You can see that, like, if it's a little tiny screen that he goes inside the room. Okay, so this is him within the room, and as he's moving around, you'll see some stuff, right? He's looking for collectibles, and pause. A broken staff bot that's been fucking murdered. And then as we continue further down the room, on the other half of the staff bot. Oh, and fun fact, in other playthroughs, people have found multiple staff bots. One of which was holding a club, like a golf club, like he was getting mad for, losing at golf or whatever he killed that staff bot for. Monty, obviously by him, the fact that he trashed his own room clearly has anger issues. And the reason why he's so angry at the beginning of the game is obviously he didn't get to show off during the performance because they had to cut early because of Freddy. I mean, the whole game, like, when Vanessa first shows up, she complains saying, "You really blew it, Freddy." Roxy has to comfort herself by saying she... Okay. I think you get the point, right? Monty has anger issues. There's evidence of him murdering robots simply because he was angry and frustrated. And we clearly see in the previous video, I don't need to show you another clip, of him wanting to take Freddy's place on the stage. So we already have evidence, clear evidence, that he murders robots, that he gets frustrated by, that he sees as competition. And we get evidence that he wants to eliminate Freddy because he's direct competition for the Starlight. And now we have the body, we have the motive, we have the body, we have the weapon, and yet some people are being tricked by a literal propaganda ride. What do you mean by the propaganda ride? I'm sure you know what I mean.
We're on the road, very slow though. It is pretty slow, but we're on the ride. Yippee! This is the actual ride. Oh my god, look! Oh my god! This is so cool! It's like a dark ride. This is amazing. This is actually amazing. Glamrock Bonnie! Glamrock Bonnie! Glamrock Bonnie! That's Glamrock Bonnie! Oh my god, there he is! There he is, guys! Oh, is he hiding there? Look! Oh my god, this is insane. Glamrock... We just got to see Glamrock Bonnie for the first time ever!
It disappoints me that people in the community genuinely believe this ride to be evidence that Bonnie gave up his guitar for Monty, that Monty was just given this position. Even if you're following that logic, that we know Bonnie was destroyed because of logbooks in the security logs, at best, this could mean that the team at the Pizzaplex just gave Bonnie's position to Monty randomly, but he wasn't the murderer. But we know that's not true. We already know that's not true. Evidence number 2 to why it was Monty who killed Bonnie is very simple. The security logs make it clear that Bonnie was destroyed and they gave the stuff to Monty. However, we know for a fact that this ride is not true. The Pizzaplex made it clear in the logs in the previous game that they were trying to find a way to justify to kids why Bonnie disappeared and why Monty took his place. This dark ride was not open in the original Pizzaplex game, and that's because it wasn't finished. The ride doesn't have a proper ending because it's not a finished ride. This was something that the Pizzaplex was planning on releasing to the public, or allowing the public to use while in Gator Goth, to fill in the narrative reason why Bonnie was replaced for customers and to make children more happy. I believe no one got to use this ride because obviously the Pizzaplex fell apart before they could properly use that ride. If that ride was available, the children such as Cassidy and Gregory would have known what happened to Bonnie already, because all the kids would have talked about the ride. So clearly the ride was not complete by the time the Pizzaplex was closed during the quote-unquote earthquake. Quote-unquote, the blob tunneled and destroyed the Pizzaplex. We're not getting into that this video, but that's my theory. So yeah, this ride is not only not canon to the events that really happened, but is nearly what the Pizzaplex wants you to believe. Kind of like a dark ride at Disney World is a more colorful, fun version of events for kids to play. For example, Pirates of the Caribbean is a more carefree, happy version of what actually happened during pirate times, which is much more dark and gritty. You know, it's propaganda. It's a propaganda ride to cover up the Pizzaplex's mistakes, because they can't admit one of their robots killed another robot. Like, that would be terrible publicity, especially with a bunch of kids going missing, which was something going on at the time. The third piece of evidence that Monty is 100% the killer of Bonnie is, well, minus the slash marks in Bonnie's body that could have just been broken, because I'm going to make that substantial evidence. This next piece is technically substantial evidence. However, when you think about how many details were put into Ruin DLC to make up for the fact that Security Breach was a broken, nasty game, and how many fine little touches were put into it, this is clearly a huge piece of evidence, and it's this. The game tells you what happened. I'll ask you one question. What are the first AR collectibles you get in Security Breach Ruin DLC? I'll give you a moment. Now I will show you them next to each other. The first item is an AR plushie of Monty next to a busted open piñata of Glamrock Bonnie. It can't be more obvious than that. This was a very, very subtle hint in the story that we were going to learn what really happened to Monty and what had actually happened. This was a hint to help act as supporting evidence to clear things up. Security Breach Ruin DLC is meant to clear up things that were confusing in the previous game. About what ending is true, how much is true, how reliable of a narrator Gregory actually is, and what actually happened down in the basement of this giant pizza mall. And in this case, Bonnie was killed by Monty with a bowling ball. That is the fact. Monty may have attacked him a little bit more, but the finishing blow was definitely that bowling ball. He was then busted open, and his reward was taken from him. Bonnie's claws, so that Monty could take his place. That's why the first piñata you get, and the first two items you get, is a Monty plushie who's hard to look at, and a Bonnie plushie filled with treats. Well, not plushie, he's a piñata, but you get the point. The point of piñatas are to get beaten up, and then you get a prize. It is storytelling. And if the stupid door to get to Bonnie actually worked, this would have been a really clever way to hint the player of what's coming. And honestly, I think it's awesome that this little goober is right in the middle of the story. But yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go get back to my birthday. Have a nice day.